My name is Chloe Martinez, and this is the story of how my father's secret life tore our family apart. How a single piece of paper turned love into ashes, and how I fought through lies, lawsuits, and betrayal to uncover the truth about the man I thought I knew. This isn't a tale of forgiveness or redemption. It's a raw, searing wound of a story about a $5 million fortune, a mother's broken heart, and a family that crumbled under the weight of a stranger's name. I'm telling this because the truth deserves to be heard, because I'm done carrying my father's sins, and because I want you to know. Sometimes the people you idolize are the ones who'll betray you deepest. And sometimes the only way to honor those you love is to fight for what they've lost, no matter the cost. It was a swelteringly unbearable June afternoon in 2022 when my world collapsed. I was 32. A graphic designer living in a modest condo in Miami, my life a careful balance of freelance gigs and weekend visits to my parents' sprawling estate in Coral Gables. My father, Victor Martinez, was a titan in my eyes, a charismatic real estate mogul who'd built a $5 million empire from nothing, with a waterfront mansion, a portfolio of luxury condos, and a yacht docked at the marina. He was the man who'd taught me to dream big, who'd cheered at my art shows, who'd promised to always take care of us. My mother, Elena, was his quiet counterpart, a former nurse who'd given up her career to raise me and manage his social calendar. Her warmth, the glue that held our family together. I thought we were unbreakable, a trio bound by love and loyalty. I was wrong. Dad died suddenly that spring, a heart attack at 60, collapsing in his office with no warning. The loss was a gut punch, leaving Mom and me reeling, clinging to memories and each other as we planned his funeral. We buried him under a blazing Miami sun, mourners filling the church with stories of his generosity, his vision, his larger-than-life presence. I stood by Mom, her hand trembling in mine, and promised to be her rock, to help her navigate the empire Dad had left behind. We expected his will to reflect the life we'd shared, a fair split of the estate between Mom and me, maybe a trust for future grandchildren, a legacy to carry his name forward. But when the day of the will reading arrived, everything I believed about my father shattered like glass. The lawyer's office was a sterile box of glass and steel, the air conditioning humming as Mom and I sat across from Mr. Goldman, Dad's attorney. The room felt too small, the silence too heavy. As Goldman opened a leather folder and began reading. His voice was flat, professional, but each word was a dagger. To Vanessa Reyes, I bequeath 90% of my estate, including Martinez properties, the Coral Gables residence, the yacht Starlight, and all financial accounts, totaling approximately $4.5 million. Vanessa Reyes. The name hit like a thunderbolt, a stranger's name in my father's will, claiming almost everything he'd built. Mom gasped, her hand flying to her mouth, her face draining of color. I sat frozen, my heart pounding, as Goldman continued. To my wife, Elena Martinez, I leave the secondary condominium in Key Biscayne, valued at $400,000. To my daughter, Chloe Martinez, I leave my personal effects and $100,000. Personal effects, $100,000. That was it. The mansion where I'd grown up, the company Dad had poured his life into, the yacht we'd sailed every summer, gone, handed to a woman we'd never heard of. Mom was trembling, her breath ragged, her eyes wide with shock. I grabbed her hand, my voice shaking. "Who is Vanessa Reyes?" I demanded, glaring at Goldman. He shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my gaze. "She's a beneficiary named in the will, Ms. Martinez. I don't have further details." No details? My father had given a stranger our future, and no one could explain why? I turned to Mom, expecting her to fight, to demand answers. But she was crumbling, tears streaming down her face, her body curling inward as if she'd been struck. I drove us home, the silence in the car suffocating, Mom staring out the window like a ghost. That night, I sat at her kitchen table, the same table where Dad had shared countless dinners, and tried to piece it together. "Mom," I said, my voice soft, "did you know her? Vanessa?" She shook her head, her voice barely audible. "No, I thought we were enough." Her words broke me, a reminder of the love she'd given him, the life she'd built. now reduced to a single condo while a stranger took everything. I couldn't accept it. Dad wasn't perfect, but he'd loved us, or so I'd thought. I needed answers, and I wasn't going to let a piece of paper erase our family. The next morning, I called Rachel Nguyen, a lawyer I'd met through a client, known for tackling high-stakes estate disputes. I met her at her downtown office, a sleek space with a view of Miami's glittering skyline, and poured out the story. Dad's death, the will, Vanessa Reyes, Mom's devastation. Rachel listened, her pen tapping the desk, her eyes narrowing as I handed her a copy of the will. "This smells like undue influence," she said, her voice steady. "Your father may have been manipulated, or worse, coerced. We can contest the will, Chloe, but it'll be a war. Your family's secrets will come out, and they won't be pretty." Secrets? I didn't think Dad had any, but I nodded, my jaw tight. "Do it. I want the truth." We filed a lawsuit against Vanessa Reyes, seeking to invalidate the will and redistribute the estate, arguing that Dad had been under undue influence or lacked testamentary capacity when he signed it. Rachel also requested a forensic audit of Dad's accounts, suspecting hidden transactions that might explain Vanessa's role. The filing was a spark, and it ignited a firestorm I wasn't prepared for. Vanessa didn't just fight back, she unleashed hell. A week after the lawsuit was served, a courier delivered a package to Mom's house, a USB drive with a note, "You deserve to know." I plugged it into my laptop, my stomach churning, and found a folder labeled Victor's Truth. Inside were photos, emails, and bank records that tore my world apart. The photos showed Dad with a woman, Vanessa, I presumed, tall, brunette, maybe mid-30s, laughing with him on a beach, dining at a restaurant, posing on the yacht. The emails were worse, spanning a decade. Dad's words to Vanessa, a knife in my heart. "Elena's a burden, always nagging. You're my escape, my future." He'd written about wanting to start over, about a life with her, free from us. The bank records showed he'd funneled $1 million to a secret account in Vanessa's name, funding a luxury apartment in South Beach and private school tuition for a child, a boy 5 years old, named Lucas. My father had a son, a secret son, and Vanessa was his mother. Mom watched the screen over my shoulder, her breath hitching, her body shaking as she collapsed into a chair. "He had another family," she whispered, her voice hollow. "All those years, he lied." I was reeling, my memories of Dad, his laughter, his promises, now tainted, a facade hiding a double life. I wanted to scream, to confront him, but he was gone, leaving us to clean up his mess. The lawsuit became my lifeline, a way to reclaim something from the wreckage. Rachel was relentless, digging into Vanessa's life, uncovering that she'd been Dad's assistant at Martinez Properties for years, promoted to consultant with a 6-figure salary despite no qualifications. We found witnesses, former employees, who confirmed Dad and Vanessa's affair, describing secret trips, late-night meetings, and Vanessa's influence over his decisions. One accountant testified that Dad had rewritten the will 6 months before his death, during a period of heavy stress and medication for heart issues, suggesting he wasn't in his right mind. But Vanessa fought dirty. She hired a high-powered attorney, a shark named Gregory Vance, who painted Mom as a gold digger who'd leached off Victor's success, and me as a spoiled daughter chasing money I didn't deserve. Vance produced letters, allegedly from Dad, claiming he'd been unhappy with Mom for years, that Vanessa was his true love. The letters felt staged, their language stilted, but they stung, each word a betrayal from beyond the grave. Vanessa took to social media, posting cryptic messages about defending her son's future and fighting greedy relatives. Her posts went viral, thousands of strangers piling on, calling Mom a bitter ex and me a money-hungry brat. My inbox filled with hate messages, my phone buzzing with threats. "Drop the case or you'll regret it." One night, someone keyed my car, carving thief into the paint, the letters jagged and cruel. The family's reaction was a second betrayal. My Aunt Sophia, Dad's sister, called, her voice sharp. "You're dragging Victor's name through the mud. Chloe, let it go. He made his choice." His choice? He'd chosen a stranger over us, and she was defending him? My cousins unfriended me on Facebook, their posts echoing Vanessa's narrative. Some people can't accept the truth. Mom's friends, once her support network, distanced themselves, whispering that she should have known about the affair. Mom retreated into herself, barely eating, her eyes vacant as she sat in the dark, clutching a photo of her and Dad from their wedding day. I'd find her there, night after night, and my heart would break, my resolve hardening. I wasn't just fighting for money, I was fighting for her, for the life she'd earned, for the truth about the man we'd loved. The legal battle was a war of attrition, draining my savings, my energy, my hope. Rachel was a bulldog, uncovering evidence that turned the tide. The audit revealed Dad had transferred $1.5 million to Vanessa's accounts over a decade, siphoning funds from Martinez properties, leaving the company on the brink of collapse. We found a hidden trust fund for Lucas, funded with $500,000 that should have been Mom's. The most damning evidence was a recorded phone call, obtained from a former colleague, where Vanessa pressured Dad to change the will. "Victor, you know Elena doesn't deserve it. Lucas and I are your future. Sign it for us." His voice, weak and slurred, agreed. A chilling glimpse of a man under her spell. Rachel played it in court, the room silent, the jury's faces tightening with disgust. The courtroom was a battlefield, packed with reporters sniffing out the scandal of a Miami tycoon's double life. I took the stand, my voice steady but raw, telling the jury about Mom's sacrifices, Dad's promises, the shock of Vanessa's name. "I'm not here for money," I said, tears burning my eyes. "I'm here for my mother, who gave everything to a man who betrayed her. I'm here for the truth about my father, who I loved but didn't know." The jury listened, some nodding, others scribbling notes. Vanessa's testimony was a performance, her voice soft, her eyes teary as she claimed Dad had chosen her, that Mom had driven him away. But her lies unraveled under Rachel's cross-examination, her composure cracking when confronted with the recording, her face paling as the jury glared. The drama spilled beyond the courtroom, a wildfire that consumed everything. Vanessa's lawyer leaked stories to the press, painting Mom as a neglectful wife, and me as a vengeful daughter. Articles flooded tabloids. Miami heiress sues father's lover for millions. Secret son sparks family feud. My clients dropped me, citing reputational concerns, my income plummeting. One night, someone threw a brick through Mom's window, a note taped to it. "You'll lose everything." I was terrified. My nights sleepless, my days haunted by the fear that we'd pushed too far. But Mom's frail hand in mine, her whispered, "I trust you, Chloe," kept me going. I wasn't fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for her, for the woman who'd given me everything. The turning point came when Mom testified, a moment that broke me. She took the stand, her hands trembling, her voice barely audible, her eyes avoiding mine. "I loved Victor," she said, tears streaming. "I thought he loved me. I didn't know about Vanessa, about the boy." Rachel asked gently, "Did Victor ever mention changing the will, Elena?" Mom shook her head, her voice cracking. "No. He said we'd always be taken care of." The jury leaned forward, their faces a mix of pity and anger. Rachel showed the trust fund documents, the secret accounts, the recording, and Mom broke down, sobbing. "I just wanted my family," she said, and I felt my heart splinter, knowing I'd lost her trust, even if I won the case. The trial stretched into 2023, each day a fresh wound. I'd lost weight, sleep, hope, haunted by Mom's tears, Vanessa's lies, the father I'd idolized. My husband, Mark, stood by me, his steady presence a lifeline, but even he couldn't shield me from the pain. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd made a mistake, if I'd pushed too far. But one thought kept me fighting. Mom deserved justice, even if it cost me everything. The drama peaked when Vanessa appeared on a local talk show, crying fake tears, claiming she was protecting her son from a greedy family. The interview went viral, millions watching, thousands commenting, calling Mom a homewrecker, and me a spoiled heiress. My phone buzzed with death threats, my email flooded with hate, "You'll burn for this." One night, someone spray-painted war on Mom's condo door, the red letters dripping like blood. I was terrified, my daughter's safety now a concern, but I refused to back down. Rachel hired security, and we pushed forward, adding a defamation suit against Vanessa for her public attacks. seeking $200,000 in damages. The verdict came on a stormy May morning in 2023. The courtroom packed with reporters, the air thick with tension. The judge's voice was calm, cutting through the silence. The court finds the will invalid due to undue influence and fraud. The estate of Victor Martinez is to be divided equally between Elena Martinez and Vanessa Reyes, with Chloe Martinez awarded $500,000 for her contributions to the family business. Vanessa Reyes is ordered to pay $150,000 in defamation damages. The room erupted, gasps, murmurs, Vanessa's furious shout. I sat frozen, relief and exhaustion crashing over me like a wave. I'd won, but it felt hollow, the victory tainted by what I'd lost. Mom sat beside me, her face buried in her hands, as if I'd hurt her by winning. Vanessa stormed out, her lawyer restraining her, her voice a venomous hiss. This isn't over, Chloe. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The truth had spoken. The aftermath was a reckoning. The media swarmed, headlines screaming, daughter wins $5 million estate battle. Miami tycoon's secret son sparks courtroom drama. I posted my story on Reddit, a raw account of the truth, and it exploded. Thousands of strangers offering support, sharing their own stories of family betrayal. It was a lifeline, a reminder that I wasn't alone. But my family was gone. Mom sold her share of the estate, moving to a small apartment, her health declining, her trust and love shattered. She speaks to me now, but it's strained, her eyes distant, as if I'm a reminder of the pain. Vanessa vanished with Lucas, last I heard living in the Bahamas, her share of the money funding a new life. Aunt Sophia cut contact, blaming me for ruining Victor's legacy. The extended family shuns me, their whispers a faint echo now. I don't care. They chose their side, and I chose mine. The defamation damages went into a trust for Mom, ensuring she'll never struggle again. I used my share to start a small art studio, a dream Dad once encouraged, now bittersweet. I walk through Miami's streets with Mark, the ocean breeze a balm on my wounds, and I think of Mom. Not the pain, not the betrayal, but the woman who taught me to fight for what's right. I won the battle, but the scars remain, etched into every quiet moment, every memory of the father I lost. I'm building a new life, surrounded by people who value me, not my sacrifices. But I'll never forget the lesson. Family isn't promises, it's truth, and mine failed that test. So here I am, telling my story, not for pity, but for truth. If you're listening, know this. Fight for those you love, even when it breaks you, even when it's family. Because sometimes the only way to honor them is to stand up to the ones who'd betray them. And sometimes the only way to heal is to sign the papers, close the door, and never look back.